So they're 35 points as well, base. So we're looking for a Phosphor Blaster. 8 points, that makes them 43. And the Plasma Culverin is 27, so they're 60 points. So they're slightly more expensive, but I think for the shooting power they have, even though they go down to a 4+ save, admittedly, I think for the shooting power they have, and the fact that the breaches aren't great in combat, if they had a third attack, I'd recommend them, but I'd probably stay with the breaches. Let's just check how many the other weapons are. So the Cognis Flamer's 11, so it's slightly more expensive to have the Flamer, but it is probably better situationally. And you got the Grav Cannon, which is 30 points. How much was the Culverin? 27. So to add both of those, you're looking at going up to like 64 points a model, 65. So it's a little bit more, but I certainly it's worth having the Grav Cannon. If you don't have the Flamer, fair enough, especially as the Phosphor Blaster will back up the Grav Cannon quite nicely, because they're both strength 5. You know, they're both going to shoot at reasonably similar things. But yeah, probably go Grav Cannon, Phosphor Blaster, maybe Cognis Flamer. But I think the Destroyers are worth it over the Breaches. So let's go to the elites. So you've got Fulgurite Electro Priests and Skitarii Electro Priests. So the stat line's reasonably similar on both. They both move 6 inches. These guys have weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 4+. These guys have weapon skill 4+, ballistic skill 3+. So obviously just swap around the stats there. They're both strength and toughness 3. They're both 1 wound. They're both 2 attacks. They're both leadership 8, and they've both got a 6+ save. So pretty standard across the board there. You get 5 to start with, and you can add up to an additional 15, so you come a unit 20. Each Electro Priest, the Fulgurite ones, come armed with an Electro Leech Stave, which is +2 strength, just make them strength 5, which is pretty good. AP -2, which is pretty good. D3 damage, which is very good considering you could have a unit of them, so you could do 10 D3 damage. Each time you make a wound roll of 6+ with this weapon, the target suffers D3 more wounds instead of the normal damage. Ow. Wow, I've not looked at these guys really before. They weren't really in my plans, but they might be now. That's nasty. Damage D3 and then D3 mortal wounds if you roll on a 6+ to wound. They've got 2 attacks as well, so hitting on a 3+ with their weapon skill as well. So if they charge in, let's assume they all attack, and there's 10 of them, so it's not even like I'm having 20 of them or anything. 10 of them have 20 attacks, 50 initial hit, strength 5, so against the average unit, 10 or wound, so you'll do 10 D3 damage. So you'll do 20 wounds, and 3 of them will be D3 more wounds. Damn. They look, if you see the models, they look quite soft. I didn't think they were going to hit harder than Space Marines, but apparently they do. Cool, okay. Cancels because the Omnissiah. The Voltergeist field. Now, hopefully this is going to help them out a bit, because their 6+ save's a bit weak. All models in this unit have a 5+ invulnerable save. When this unit completes a charge move, pick one of the target units you have charged and roll d6 for each model in the charging unit. Any rolls of a 6 inflict a more wound. So to get the charge, which they're movement 6, so they could well do, you get to do maybe more mortal wounds, and you get a 5 of Invuln, which is very much needed considering their toughness 3 with 1 wound. That's their big weakness. If this unit wipes out an enemy unit in the fight phase, their invulnerable saves increase to 3+ for the rest of the battle. Jeez. So these were really weird ones. I'll do the final final rule first. Each time a model in this unit loses a wound, roll a d6. On a roll of a 5 or 6, this model does not lose that wound. Wow. So these guys are pretty awesome. So effectively they've got a 5+ Feel No Pain, effectively. Fanatical Devotion. A 5+ Invulnerable save. So they're only toughness 3 with 1 wound, but they've got decent saves, and if they get in combat, more wounds on the charge potentially, lots of attacks with D3 wounds in combat, which could then cause mortal wounds, and if you wipe out a unit in the fight phase, you get a 3+ invulnerable save. How much are these guys? So Fulgurite Electro Priests, 16 points. So if you had 10 of them, they'd be 160. And then they have their weapon, what's it called? The Electro Leech Stave. No points. Awesome. So 10 of those are 160 points, and 15 would be 240, I think. I think it's kind of a go big or go home unit, because Mechanicum at the moment don't have a transport. I feel like 15 is the only way you're going to make it up the table, even with those saves. But if you take that 15 unit for 240 points, I don't think they'll let you down very often, because they'll either soak up a hell of a lot of firepower, because it will take a lot with those saves to kill them, or they'll get in combat and they're going to mash some stuff. I know in the last edition they probably had like Initiative 3, and that's what killed them, that even when they got to combat they struck last. But now you could pick them first. They're interesting, those Electro Priests. Okay. Skitarii. So let's see if they can equal up, although they are one less power to take, so perhaps not as good. So same stat line, but the weapon skill ballistical swaps, as we said earlier. Again, you can have up to 15 additional, and they come armed with electrostatic gauntlets. So they can work in shooting and melee. So shooting, they're 12 inches, assault 3, strength 5, AP dash damage 1. And in combat, they are strength 5, AP dash damage 1. Each hit roll of 6 plus this weapon causes 3 hits rather than 1. So that's quite cool. It's the short range, that's the problem, is that these guys get into combat. Again, 2 attacks. Hit on 4s, not too bad. Especially as any 6 will get you 3 additional, causes 3 hits rather than 1. That's hits, not attacks. The strength 5 AP dash damage 1 isn't great, but it's not too bad. It's just the weakness of that shooting, the fact it's 12 inches. If it was 24, so you could shoot an army coming towards you, or shoot consistently as you moved up, I'd be quite impressed, but 12-inch range is a bit painful. Cancels because the Messiah, but they've got the Voltgeist shield as well, field, so 5+ invulnerable save, and when they charge they can do the mortal wounds, and when they lose a rune they get the 5/6. So to be fair, they've got the same rules apart from they can't get 3+ invuln, which is probably why they're 1 power lower. Not bad. How much cheaper are they? 14, so they're 2 points cheaper each. I just don't think I could take them with the Fulgurite ones above, because they do get a shooting attack, which is nice, but they're so deadly in combat and they get that 3+ invulnerable save rule. I just don't think I could not take them for 2 points more a model, personally. Definitely one I'd look at, guys, those Fulgurite Electro Priests. Pretty cool. Okay, so now we've got the Castellan robots. My favourite unit, absolutely why I collected Adeptus Mechanicus and Skitarrii. I love those robot models. They are some of the coolest models GW have ever created. They look amazing. The proportions are perfect, the armor's perfect. I love the little kind of Space Invaders kind of mask. I love the independent weapon on the top that searches for targets. I just think it's brilliant. I think they're wonderful. Really, really cool. So, their movement 8 inches, weapon skill and ballistical 4+, strength 6, toughness 7, 6 wounds, 3 attacks, leash 10, 3+, save. So, really nice stat line. The 4+ weapon skill ballistical is expected because they're robots, they're not fully aware. Strength 6, toughness 7 is good, 6 wounds is good, 3 attacks is good. Leadership 10 is brilliant. In the new edition, Leadership 10 is fantastic. Basically, no one has Leadership 10. And the 3+ save. Heavy Phosphor Blaster, 36 inches, heavy 3, strength 6, AP -2, damage 1. Units attacked by this weapon do not gain any bonus to their saving throws for being in cover. So no cover saves, 3 shots, strength 6, AP 2, damage 1. It's pretty good. Incendiary Combustor, 12 inches, heavy D6, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1, automatically hits. So it's basically a flamer. It's straight heavy flamer though, strength 5 and -1 AP. You've got Castellan Fists, which are melee strength +4, so strength 10, AP -3 and damage 3. So that guaranteed damage 3 is pretty nice. They've got 3 attacks each, so potentially 9 damage per robot. You can swap your Combustor for Heavy Phosphor Blaster, and you can swap your Fists for 2 Heavy Phosphor Blasters. And I think this is the way I'm going to be going with them, because that gives them 9 shots each. So 2 of them have 18 shots. Hit on 4s, but then obviously again combined with characters and maybe some canticles, these guys can start hitting on 3s or start re-rolling 1s to hit, and all of a sudden there can be a lot of shots coming out. Also, that's only from 2 of them. And also there's a rule down here called Battle Protocols, which we'll go through in a second, which adds to that. Although they are good in combat, so if you do want to take them in combat, please do, as like a screening unit for your army, because they are good. So you have Canticles of the Omnissiah. They have a 5+ invulnerable save against shooting attacks, and each time you roll a 6+ for a repulsor grid invulnerable save, the unit that made the attack suffers a mortal wound. So that's a little cheeky, you know, you might get the odd one of those per game. It can explode, obviously, just as normal. And Battle Protocols. So when the unit is set up, the Aegis Protocol is in effect. You can attempt to change the unit's Battle Protocol at the start of each your movement phase if there's a friendly Data Smith within 6 inches. Basically, you do want a 2+. If you fail, the standard one remains in effect, and you go on from there. So they're all really good. This is what's made the robots really good, because they're all really good. So the Aegis Protocol is, whilst this Battle Protocol is in effect, you can add 1 to any armor or invulnerable saves you make. So they've got a 2+ save and a 4+ invulnerable save from shooting. So it makes them really tough to kill. If you're sitting on an objective, it's the end of the game, or you're trying to make your way across the board to some Tau or Astra Militarum, that's the one to take. Conqueror Protocol. While this Battle Protocol is in effect, the unit cannot shoot, but it can fight twice in each fight phase. So again, if you're locked in combat, you know you're going to be locked in combat for at least a turn or 2. You're fighting Terminators, something like that. You can put this in and you'll fight twice. So you'll get 6 attacks each robot. And you've got to remember these are strength 10 with -3 AP, damage 3. So they could start really munching through some stuff. And finally, this is the one I was talking about, Protector Protocol. While this Battle Protocol is in effect, the unit cannot move or charge, but it can shoot twice in each of your shooting phases and shoot twice when firing Overwatch. So you think potentially these guys, if they have all phosphor blasters, have got 18 shots each. 18 shots each. It's horrible. So they'll get 9 hits each. They'll get 18 hits at strength 6, AP -2, damage 1, and no cover. Really brutal. And then the fact that if you do then charge me, I can shoot you twice on Overwatch. And yeah, I hit on 6s, but I've got 18 shots a robot. I should average 3 hits, let alone if I get a little lucky. So I think that is horrendously brutal, especially if you can squeak in a 3rd robot, which I don't think I can in my army, but if you can, they're just going to destroy stuff. The only weakness is the strength 6, just because anything that's strength like 7, obviously you're wounding on 5s, which straight away isn't brilliant. Obviously it's got to be a toughness 12 for you to wound on 6s, but you know, 5s on toughness 7s, okay, it's not too bad. Okay, so the Cybernetica Data Smith, who's the little guy who follows them around, the little like helper guy. So he moves 6 inches a turn, weapon skill ballistic 3+, strength toughness 4, 4 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 8, and a 2+ save, so pretty standard stuff. Ooh, find out how much the robots are. Ha! I've run ahead of myself. Let's find out how much the robots are. So you have 2 to 6, so you do have to have 2. You can't have 1. They're 65 points each, but obviously their weapons are going to cost, because you'd have to buy all 3 phosphor blasters, wouldn't you? Heavy phosphor blaster. 15, so they're 45 points. I'll tell you what, I still think they're a bit of a steal. So what does that make them? 110 points each? They're only 220 points. I might try and stick a 3rd of them in my army. They were more expensive than that before, I'm sure. Oh no, they weren't. I think that is right, because I think the Data Smith, them and the Data Smith was 295, I think. Where's the Data Smith? Mind you, he's only 22 points, so they are cheaper. They're about 40 points cheaper than they used to be, which is pretty epic. Wow. So external robots, guys, go out and get those bad boys. Okay, the Data Smith, he has a Power Fist and a Gamma Pistol, which is pretty well armed. Power Fist ×2 strength, AP -3, damage D3, subtract 1 when you hit. So that's pretty good, makes him strength 8. The Gamma Pistol is 12 inches, pistol 1, strength 6, AP -3, damage 2, and you reroll failed wound rolls against vehicles. So actually it's a really nasty weapon. Rerolling wounds against vehicles, 2 damage, AP -3, and strength 6. It's just the fact it's a 1 shot, but apart from that, that's kind of awesome. But he's only 22 points, so. He gets Canticles of the Omnissiah, he gets a 5+ invulnerable save, and Master of the Machines, which is the D3 wounds thing. So this guy jumps in this unit with the Castellan robots, And basically what he can do is just sit in the unit, here have D3 wounds back, have D3 wounds back, have D3 wounds back. Which is awesome. Considering these guys got 6 wounds each, you know, he's averaging 2 wounds back a turn. Again, you're going to have to do 3-4 wounds a turn if you want to kill these guys, at least. So they're well worth taking. And you've got servitors, and I think that's it. Yeah, we're on to the Skitarii after that. So servitors first. So you have a 5-inch move, 5+ weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 6 and 4+ save. So pretty poor stat line for the most part, but they are servitors. This unit contains 4 servitors. Each servitor is armed with a servo arm. So you can have a heavy bolter, which is 36 inches, heavy 3, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1. Multi-melter, which is 24 inches, heavy 1, strength 8, -4, d6, and it's 2d6, pick the highest in close range. Plasma cannon, 36 inches, heavy d3, strength 7, AP -3, damage 1, and it's damage 2 and strength 8 if you supercharge it, which could be worth it because on a roll of 1 the bear is slain, but the servitors only got 1 wound and they're cheap, so perhaps worth doing. And then the servo arm is melee times 2 strength, -2 AP, damage 3. But you can only use it for 1 attack. It's only got 1 attack anyway. But that's the reason I wouldn't take that, is because it's only got 1 attack. If you're going to use it, get a shooting weapon. Canticles of the Omnissiah, and then Mind Lock. So if they're within 6 inches of a Tech Priest, they get weapon skill, ballistic skill 4+, and the leadership goes up to 9. Okay, so that makes them worth looking at. Because all of a sudden, 4+ weapon skill, ballistic skill, and leadership 9 makes them like, okay, as a shooting force at the back of your army, they have got some heavy weapons. So Servitor is 2 points. My goodness, literally 2 points. Wow. Obviously going to pay for the weapons, but still. So Multi-Melter is 27 points. So 29 points for the Servitor and the Multi-Melter. It's not too bad. Plasma Cannon is 21, so 23 points for one of those. What was the other one? Heavy Bolter, this should be cheap. 10 points, so 12 points per Heavy Bolter. I don't think I'd probably take them with the Plasma Cannon or the Multi-Melter, but Heavy Bolter, considering they're only 12 points each, a mobile Heavy Bolter with basic skill, weapon skill 4+ leadership 9 if you put them near the Tech Priest is not all that bad. Okay, so that's the Adeptus Mechanicus. So that's a good part of the book done. Some initial impressions, they look really good. They seem to be pretty tough to kill. They seem to be pretty reliable. They seem to have some effective units. Some units that perhaps weren't as good in the codex are now a little better in the index. So that's pretty cool. So let's see if the Skitarii can keep that going. They've got about the same amount of units, roughly. They've just not got any heroes. So this should be slightly quicker to run through. So we've got Skitarii, Rangers and Vanguard to start with. Now these guys I think have the exact same stat line, which is 6-inch move, 4+ weapon skill, 3+ ballistic skill, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 6, 4+ save. So there you go, pretty standard across the board. The alpha in each unit gets leadership 7 and 2 attacks. So that's what you get for the alphas. You can have a unit of 10, no more. So with the Rangers, they have galvanic rifles, which are 30-inch range. They're like snipers, rapid fire 1, strength 4, AP- damage 1. Each time you make a wound roll of 6+, this weapon has AP -1. So it's okay. It's a little tame. In rapid fire it's pretty good because you're getting 2 shots each, hit on 3s, strength 4, damage 1, and maybe the odd AP -1 on a 6+, so it's okay, but at long range having 10 shots total is of that is pretty average. But let's see what they can get. So they can have Canticles of the Omnissiah, which is cool. They get a 6+ invulnerable save from the Bionics. These are 2 really cool rules. This is something they can both take. So Omnispecs means you can't get cover saves against them, and Enhanced Data Tether means you can reroll morale checks. So both of those are really cool advantages, especially as your Ranger Alpha or Vanguard Alpha is only leadership 7. So they're not got fantastic leadership, so rerolling morale checks is pretty useful. Let's see what weapons they can have. So up to 2 Skitarii Rangers may replace their galvanic rifle with 1 special weapon. If the unit numbers 10 models, 1 additional Skitarii Ranger can have a special weapon. 1 Skitarii Ranger may also have an enhanced data tether or omnispec, so you have to choose that because it's one or the other. The Ranger Alpha may take 1 item from the melee weapons list and may replace their galvanic rifle with something from the pistols list. So the special weapons list for the Skitarii, just find that. Put it all in one bit. Yeah, so these Skitarii are here. So sorry, what list did it say? Sorry, gone mad. Did it say special weapons list? No, these seem to be listed as special weapons, which is a bit weird. Doesn't seem to say special weapons anywhere. Okay, maybe I'm going a bit crazy, but it doesn't seem to actually say special weapons anywhere, it just says ranged and melee weapons. So, but we know they can have things like plasma calivers, which are actually better in my opinion now. So the plasma calivers lost a shot, it's 18 inches range still an assault weapon, it's 2 shots now, not 3, and strength 7, minus 3 AP, 1 damage, but you don't overheat. So not overheating is huge. So I'd take that for the second for only 2 shots. You can supercharge where on a 1 you're slaying and you get damage 2, strength 8. So I think the plasma caliber is really cool. Certainly worth looking at and worth taking as much as you can. The arc rifle, which is the other option, is 24 inches, rapid fire 1, strength 6, AP minus 1, damage 1. When attacking a vehicle, this weapon has a damage of D3. So it's pretty cool because it's quite good anyway. Strength 6, minus 1, rapid fire. It's not too bad anyway, but then the damage D3 against tanks is pretty handy. So they're pretty solid Rangers. I'm just not that encouraged by their basic weapon. Everything else is cool. The weapons they can take are cool. Those basic weapons are just a bit. They just don't quite do anything. If they had AP minus 1, brilliant. Strength 5, brilliant. 2 shots, brilliant. But it's just, yeah, it's just that lack of punch, I think, a little bit there. So how much are Rangers? So a Skitarii Ranger is 10 points. Do you have to play for the galvanic rifle? No. So they are 10 points. So that is pretty good because that's cheaper than they used to be. So, in fairness, I think Games Workshop just kind of compensated better by making them only 10 points. So yes, they're not brilliant and they don't me out loads of damage, but at 10 points each, even if you use them as kind of a delivery system for your plasma calivers, for 10 points each, I'd probably do that. So it's not too bad. Skitarii Vanguard, same stat line. Again, you get 5, you can have up to 10. They have Canticles of the Omnissiah, Bionics, Omnispecs, Enhanced Data Tether. The only extra rule they have is Rad Saturation, which is reduce the toughness of enemy units other than vehicles by 1 whilst they're in 1 inch of any Skitarii Vanguard. So basically when they're in combat, the enemy's at minus 1 toughness. It doesn't sound amazing, but number 1, they're minus 1 toughness to other units as well. So any other units in the combat benefit. These guys are only strength 3, so having Marines at toughness 3 or Guard at toughness 2, things like that do really help. And also these guys aren't terrible in combat because they've got the Vanguard Alpha, who has a couple of attacks, plus he can have a special weapon, so it's not too bad. Radium Carbine, so this is their basic weapon. 18 inch range,